Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. I wanna share my love, but it's gotta be with someone who's precious. You're never gonna get my love, accepting that you're real, real precious. You're never gonna cramp my style, baby, cause I get a lot of pleasure. And if you wanna test my style, you better have a whole lot of measure. Cause I'm a rock back chick, never tag along the never look back chick. Trendy, a little crazy, intelligently singing rock back chick. No sticks, no stones, or any kind of weapon don't belong here. I don't wanna break no bones, I just want a microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning, good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, morning, good morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. As we continue to give God thanks for life, I am Julian Skeet.
And I am Maria Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning to Trinidad, those of you viewing us in the Caribbean and on the live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Julian Skeet, how have you been?
Yes, been good indeed, Maria. The kind of weather, I know we've been under this weather alert and so on, and you know this is the kind of weather that I embrace. So no challenges at the moment, giving God thanks indeed.
Must have been pretty difficult for you to get out of bed this morning.
Oh, difficult is an understatement. Let's just say, viewers, it's good to be here. It's good to be here this morning.
It is indeed. And for those persons who are coming from far east, I say be careful on the roads, it's wet.
Yes.
I want to send out a shout to the Division of Education. Oftentimes we have these yellow level alerts as it pertains to the weather, and too often they allow school to continue, and in the middle of the day is when they are now calling for bus drivers for schools to dismiss school at half day, maybe 1 o'clock. By that time the day has already gone. I'm thinking here, let's be proactive. All right, let us be proactive. This is Tobago. We live on an island. When it rains, it floods, and a lot of times it's very difficult for the buses or the bus drivers to get to the east in time. As a parent, mind you, I no longer have children at some of these, attending any of these schools.
For now.
No. I'm not even in the for now category. But I'm saying here, the division needs to be proactive. When we have these yellow level alerts and beyond, when it could possibly turn to orange or so, I'm saying here, you need to think about not just the town schools as we call them, but the schools in the far east, and the children who have to leave the West End to get to the far east. I'm saying here, put measures in place. And some principals need to think for themselves and say, look, because of where we're located and because of where our students are coming from, our students are not teachers, we need to move to suit. I'm saying here, let's move to the next level, okay? It cannot just be rules and regulations as normal.
All right, something to think about there, definitely. Recommendations going out to the Division of Education in terms of our school systems here in the Tobago space. Viewers, at this point, we head on over to news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Ria and Julian. I am Candice Jackson, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, 22nd September 2022. There were only 6 reported incidents associated with the passage of a tropical disturbance yesterday. The Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Office issued an adverse weather warning yellow alert, which saw thunderstorms throughout the day and into the night. However, the Tobago Emergency Management Agency reported no major or serious incidents as a result of the heavy rainfall. Out of the six reported incidents, There were 2 cases of minor floods, 2 fallen trees, 1 minor landslide, and 1 power outage in the Mount St. George Study Park area. The yellow level adverse weather conditions are expected to continue today during the day until 8 p.m. Meanwhile, Chief Secretary Farley Augustine is expected to reveal the contents of an audit later today in the Assembly legislature. Over the past few months, the financials of the Tobago House of Assembly was under investigation after Augustine discovered questionable dealings with contracts when he assumed office in December 2021. Among them were contracts associated with emergency road repair works sanctioned by the previous PNM-led administration in the lead-up to elections. Augustine will reveal the audit findings in a statement that is expected to be comprehensive and will implicate several people and businesses. And nationally, Minister of Health Terence Dayal Singh warned that the COVID-19 pandemic is not over. At a press conference yesterday, Dayal Singh responded to a question from the media regarding the state of the virus within society. Even though some countries have declared the pandemic over, he believed that the virus is still prevalent in Trinidad and Tobago and remains a concern. Adding that the pandemic does not have an end date, Dayal Singh anticipates that the COVID-19 virus will become an endemic just like the influenza virus. And that was your news in 90 seconds. It is back to you, Ria and Julian.
Thank you very much there, Candice. And Ria, you know, there's that sense of energy, viewers and listeners, that you all bring to us each and every day. You know, we are out here, it's a rainy day, Ria just spoke about the weather, challenges and so on. And then when you get to the comments section, Ria, and you read the comments, I mean, viewers just continue to inspire and encourage. Julia Brown, Miss Jackson, you are looking beautiful. Desiree is indicating excellent, Ria, giving feedback and so on. Liana, well, a special shout out to Liana Adams. Love the shirt, Julia. And this is a good moment for me to highlight the shirt this morning. It's courtesy Euphoric Designs, Darian. So that's Darian Phillips of Euphoric Designs. Remember to check out on our social media. Shirt this morning, courtesy Euphoric Designs. Locally made right here in Tobago by Darian Phillips of Euphoric Designs. So remember to connect with her. Ria, it's just kind of, it's so motivational and encouraging. And we really want to thank all our viewers and all our supporters that continue. As I always make the point, we are #1 because of each and every one of you joining us here on the live day after day. So shout outs also to Shanika Harris this morning, Huki Melville, Denise Phillips, my cousin out there in the States, Lisa James, to each and every one of you. We want to say morning, morning, and thank you for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show.
Most definitely. So Julian, tell us what's been happening within the Tobago space. Your feet are on the ground, your ear is to the ground. What's been happening?
Well, today is another big day. You know, as Candice just highlighted in the news. Chief Secretary used an interesting term when he was at this special sitting that took place earlier in this week, indicating that what we are seeing happening out there is sponsored noise, and sponsored noise to distract from what is intended to be revealed today. And without a shadow of a doubt, I think you know, we're all looking forward, waiting to hear what is going to be revealed coming out of this audit report. The administration has spoken to this in a very serious manner when they took up office. And you know, many have said, hearing about audits and they're doing audits and nothing has been revealed. So today is one of those days that we all wait patiently to see the information that would come forth, and then further to that information, the action that would be taken. Because you know, it's one thing to have the information out, and then the action, correct, the action that will indeed follow with the presentation of this information. And I think that sitting is from 1:30 today. So we look forward to what will come out of that.
And will Tobago Updates be carrying it live?
Oh yes, certainly. Tobago Updates will be carrying the sit-in live, so remember to tune in. In fact, by now, you should be following, you should have liked the page, you should be following, and not just sharing each and every morning, but you should be in such a manner that from the time we go live, you get that notification immediately. So we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support. Ria, we're heading on into a very long list of birthdays this morning.
A long list of birthdays. I'm not sure what's happening today, but
it's that kind of month. It's that kind of month.
Although we've been accused of not focusing much on the Libras, but I'll leave Jenny Ali there, you know.
We don't want to call Jenny Ali's name at all. We start on off this morning with Melanie Hislop. We want to wish you a happy birthday.
Auntie Mel, happy birthday to you.
Going out to Melanie Hislop this morning. All right, and birthday shout-outs to Dexter Bordeaux Matthews. I hope I have that. Bordeaux. Dexter Bordeaux Matthews.
All
Wishing you a
right.
happy birthday.
And this is my cousin-in-law coming up here,
Yes.
Teron Nore, celebrating his birthday. Love going out to you, Teron. Happy birthday from the entire McNeil George clan.
That's my friend in the Rotary family, and you know how difficult it was to find a picture of Teron Nore. Happy birthday, Teron Nore.
All right, and we've got here Lukita Kennedy. Happy birthday going to you. Lots of love.
Another one of my friends here in the Rotary family, Asante Brathwaite. Or I should say attorney Asante Brathwaite. Wishing you
one of my past students from many, many years ago. And this is Auntie Susie Daniel Nero, wife of Pastor Joseph Gary Nero. Lots of love going out to you. Happy birthday from the entire Roxborough Open Bible family. Auntie Susie, enjoy.
and this lovely face here, Ty Parks. And happy birthdays coming out from your mom and dad, sister, brother, grandparents, and the entire Tobago Updates family. So innocent, so innocent.
Beautiful
Is
child.
Daddy as innocent? But so innocent.
We'll leave it there.
I'm giving Daddy some trouble on the live this morning.
We'll leave Daddy.
All right. And this on screen here, Rian, you know, I'm going to get some licks for this. This birthday would have gone earlier in the week. My very good friend, Aveen of Osani TNT, Aveen Thomas, I want to wish you a happy birthday. But if I know Aveen any at all, those celebrations did not stop on Monday. It continued into the week, and I saved this for the special moment, Aveen. I know I'm going to get away with that.
Excellent
But I'm
comeback.
wishing you a very happy birthday, Aveen, coming from me, the entire family, and of course, our Tobago Updates family. Aveen Thomas, wishing you a happy birthday.
And this is Shuma Carter, the mother of Ayana Carter Brassi. She's celebrating her birthday today, and Shuma Carter is one of the #1 supporters of Tobago Updates. I tell you, we go way back.
She's
In
what,
fact,
we will call a day one. She's
a day one,
from
yes.
Day
and
one,
I
lending
tell
her
you,
support.
all of us here, we love you. We celebrate with you today. And, you know, we wish you all the best for the season of your life. And this is Andre Church from Grenada. Andre was living and working here in Tobago for a short period of time, but back in Grenada. So, Andre, love going out to you this morning from the entire Open Bible family.
All right, sending birthday shout-outs to all, and even those, and you know, feel free to remember to continue to connect with us via the live. You've got somebody celebrating a birthday. You've got the chance to send it in and to share with us. And yes, I'm seeing a message coming in on my WhatsApp. So let me remind you again, Euphoric Designs can be contacted at 463-4657.
Oh, you better put it out
this
there.
morning, courtesy Euphoric Designs by Darian Phillips. And you can contact her at 463-4657. And you can also connect with her on social media. Ria, who do we have on our rundown this morning? When Ria has the tablet in hand, you say thank you for that. And while she's pulling that up, can't forget at all my barber. A classic cuts by Aquilon this morning. I'm responsible, you know, for keeping me intact. As Cassie would say ever so often, right, so you're heading off to the barber today?
She knows. Definitely.
Who do we have on our rundown this morning, Ria?
Starting us off this morning, Julian, we will be chatting with Ashworth Jack, a former minority leader of the Tobago House of Assembly. And the focus this morning is on the THA plenary sitting for today and the way forward for Tobago. So that's the discussion there with Ashworth Jack. All right, and then we continue on with Antonia, that's Tika De Freitas, who's the president of TTUTA, on TTUTA's Rest and Reflect Day. So I'm just letting parents out there know that today, yes, you might be happy or not to know that today is a day of rest and reflect. In fact, TTUTA is calling on teachers to rest and reflect for the first part of the day, and that they can attend school and teaching activities from about 1 p.m. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but that's what they're promoting.
That's interesting, because I think school is likely to end early again with the weather conditions, probably by about 1 o'clock. But we wait to see. There's no official announcement.
No.
As far as the division indicated, yesterday, Wednesday. All schools were closed at 1 p.m. and schools resume as normal today, Tuesday, the 22nd, unless there's any further advisories coming from the division. But once there is, we will certainly share with you here on Tobago Update.
No, most definitely. But I'm saying here, parents, you need to be proactive as well. You see the weather conditions and, you know, your children have to travel far east. I'm saying here, put things in place. They either, you know, I'm just saying. However, we are going to close things off this morning with chatting with James Armstrong, who's the president of the Tobago Visual Arts Association, about their new board. All right, so that's what's coming up on the program this morning.
All right. Viewers, we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support. This is the Tobago Updates morning show, and thank you for choosing us. This is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
I don't wanna break no bones. I just want a microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face.
Live, the concert.
Says our destiny.
Friday, 23rd September.
The night before Republic Day. She says our destiny. Forget next to me. At the concert capital, the Queen's Park Savannah.
Live, the concert. Mavado and his full band.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Entertainment. Yes, we're bringing it to you. Tobago Updates. It's all about the new entertainment show, the VIP Experience, hosted by your boy Snoopy. Tune in every Wednesday from 8 p.m. and on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. We're bringing to you the best Tobago has to offer. We're showcasing interviews, music, and everything that is fun. So join me on Tobago Updates for the VIP Experience. Yeah, man.
Like about to overload. Watch them sexy big old woman. Beauty from head to toe. In the sun. You don't need no lotion.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Susaland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Mamai Lakai Home Services. We specialize in cleaning of carpets and rugs, mattresses, living room and dining room sets, vehicle detailing, cleaning and sanitizing of homes and commercial spaces. We also do landscaping and tree cutting, pressure and power washing, floor care, fumigating and air purifying. You can also call us for professional painting services, babysitting and adult sitting. Call us now 333 4430 at Mamaila Kai Home Services. We take cleaning to another level. The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning.
Back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. All right, I understand that we should have online our next guest this morning, President of TTUTA, Mr. Freitas.
Yes,
welcome, welcome.
How are you?
Morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So as we get started this morning, we're heading straight on in. It's our information and understanding that today is another day or half day, you'll clarify for us, of rest and reflection. Give us the status in relation to that happening today and the advice that has been given to teachers.
It is a half day of rest and reflection for the AM session, as you mentioned earlier, so that there would be that activity, the rest, the reflecting in the morning, and our education professionals are expected to resume duty after lunch. We do believe that there is need for the state, for the CPO in these negotiations, and the Ministry of Education and the division by extension, to really and truly consider the work that our education professionals do, and not simply say, well, okay, it's a place to lodge, it's a place to lodge students, it's a place to, just deliver the curriculum. We maintain as TTUTA that the working environment and the working conditions of educators are the learning conditions of students. And so for far too long, we have been expected to prop up the system, to use resources, our own funding, to provide what the state is supposed to provide, all on 2014 salaries. And that translates into what basically? The offer of a $200 increase on 2014 salaries, given the current cost of living, given the rise in fuel prices. So members took a decision, the General Council took a decision that they would work with this half day. It's unfortunate, that to get a point across, you have to disrupt or destabilize or make persons uncomfortable. But it seems as if that's the only way, unfortunately, to get messages across and to have persons take action. We are saying, colleagues, that it's not only about making sure that the children have the books in their bags. It's about making sure that we have an investment in education and in the human capital. And we are not seeing that from the state.
Okay, now, Mr. Freitas, it's good to have you on the program with us. Just to be clear here, and we understand that union negotiations never happen within real time. So just remind us again of what period, what are the periods being negotiated for?
Right now, the period that TTUTA is negotiating for is 2014 to 2017. How long? And we actually submitted salary proposals for these negotiations way back in 2015. Good? And yes, at the end of the day, the state decision about how they're going to utilize funds, be it to do projects or to pay workers, as the case may be, is one of the things we are battling with today, because we've seen though the $7 million, for example, utilized for celebration of the 60th anniversary of independence. And nobody wants to begrudge our country of that milestone. We've done it, reached 60 years peacefully. But could that money have not been used for something more sustainable? Could that money have not been used to meet some of those payment needs that we say we have for public sector workers? So these are the things we have to look at, where the government policy does not necessarily signal that there is care and concern for working professionals, and you have educators living on 2014 salaries.
Okay.
President Freitas, from the perspective of parents, we would have seen a day of rest and reflection at the start of the term earlier in this month, and once again happening. Would you say the impact or the intention or the objective is being met, or rather what we are seeing is more a situation where our students are the ones that are affected ultimately by these days of rest and reflection?
There is no way in which the students will be significantly affected or impacted by the day in the first instance and today's half day of rest and reflection. Rather, the expectation would be that the same parents that you speak about, the same public, would send a strong message to the state that they need to come back to the negotiating table, negotiate with educators, negotiate with TTUTA in good faith to have the matter resolved properly and speedily. One of the points I would want to make is that TTUTA does not utilize and has not used for many years the percentage increase in negotiations, the 2% increase, the 4% increase, 6% increase, etc. Rather, the CPO and TTUTA have signed agreement many years ago, and we've used the market survey approach, where we compare our jobs with similar knowledge, qualifications, and competencies in the open market. When the CPO and the state have determined that they're going to move away from that unilaterally and go back to a particular methodology without full discussion and full agreement, that's negotiating in bad faith. That's not negotiating in good faith. And so the refusal by the state to move the offer and TTUTA's subsequent refusal of the offer is based on fundamental principles of breach of agreement and breach of the collective bargaining process. Now, of course, I want to hasten to add that we are willing to continue discussions and engagement with the CPO. We are willing to move what we would like, what we've asked for. But it cannot simply be a unilateral breach of agreement and breach of trust, good trust and goodwill, and expectation that the union would simply capitulate and fall in line with what is being demanded.
Okay. Now, Mr. Freitas, there would have been a letter sent to the CPO dated September 2nd, 2022, highlighting some of these and other issues. Since then, has there been a response? Has there been a follow-up? What has happened?
Correct. That letter indicated our refusal of that 2% offer. Subsequent to that, we received further correspondence from the CPO offering the retirees for the period a one-off payment of $4,000 before tax. Now, that one-off payment would not have been added to their current pension or anything in the future. It would have been a one-and-done deal. That buyout, again, is not a component of the market survey process. So even to accept the buyout, that $4,000 for retirees, for example, would have meant a breach of the agreement that we've used to negotiate. TTUTA rejected that as well. And so we wrote to the CPO indicating that we would like to have a response to our offer, our willingness to negotiate, to move by the 19th of September. That's Monday last. As of midnight on the 19th, we had not received any communication or response from the CPO. So the General Council of the Union made the determination that we would have our rest and reflection this morning. Our education professionals are expected to return to work this afternoon, resume duty, and we will have our subsequent action in due course.
Tell us, coming to the negotiation table at this point, what is expected or what leverage is TTUTA willing to move forward with? Because we hear the natural talks that come forward. We're at a point where the challenge might be to meet those compensations. And as a matter of fact, you'd be very aware that there are a number of unions now making similar kinds of representation given what has been outstanding periods. How much leverage is TTUTA willing to give based on the negotiations?
Well, to hit on the issue of what is outstanding, you have to remember that again, it's government policy, the choice of the government to negotiate or not to negotiate within the stipulated time frames that unions are given. So when we talk 2014 to 2017 negotiations in the period 2022, and we expect that there would be movement reflective and indicative of 14 to 17 market survey results, but you're not seeing that, then it means that government policy is contravening what the market says. There is money that can be paid, and that wasn't done at that point in time. In terms of what we do going forward, TTUTA has signaled, as I indicated, we are willing to continue to discuss. The General Counsel has given us a ceiling to work with, but they've also said if there is need for the negotiating team to move and adjust its position in keeping with what the state is willing to offer, you can do that. So we have that leeway from our membership. Now, I also want to add that TTUTA, and like many of the other unions, signal to the government the large numbers that we are calling for payment of arrears, etc., the billions of dollars that we project to be utilized. We have said as a union, you don't only have to look to pay that in cash and to pay that currently. There are a number of instruments that can be utilized and or created to facilitate, for example, deferred payments, to facilitate interest-bearing bonds, for example. Instruments that would not require cash in real time, payment of arrears in real time, but still give the employee who has the monies outstanding, still give them some kind of value. So we don't expect to be breaking the economy of Trinidad and Tobago by demanding arrears in cash. We have signaled to the state, deal with what is outstanding, inclusive of the consolidation of COLA, that buffer that was used, that is designed to help us deal with the cost of living. Deal with that, and let us look at other instruments to deal with the arrears. Don't go touting these large figures and having persons and citizens believe that we are trying to break the economy. That's not the case. Government should have started negotiations and concluded them in the time that it was due. That's why we are here today.
Okay. Let me ask you very quickly here, and I just need a reminder here. We spoke a little while ago about what the ministry was offering retirees. Could you reconfirm that figure for me? Did you say 4,000 or was it 40,000?
4,000.
And this is a one-time payment of $4,000.
Payment of $4,000 for persons who retired for 14 to 15. And 15 to 16. So it signals that even in the third year, 16 to 17, there's no expectation that these retirees would have been factored in with any other cost. $4,000 for 2 of the 3 years that we are negotiating for.
One wonders, how can that even be a discussion? How can that even be on the table?
You know, I relate an experience I had, and I mean, I tend to talk from experiences. I was on Frederick Street some time ago, and this senior citizen, a lady, approached me, "Daughter, you could give me some money to buy the medication," and she pulled out a prescription. Thankfully, I had cash, so I gave her. A bit skeptical, but you know, I gave her the cash. And in the vicinity, there was a pharmacy, and she went in and she bought the medication, and she brought it back out for me to see. So I asked her, I said, "But Tanti, why are you doing that?" She said, "Well, I have no other way. My pension can't do it." I said, "Where you used to work?" And it turns out she was a public sector worker for many years and retired, and she can't survive on the pension now that, well, she has medication to buy. And she's not unique and singular in that regard. We know many pensioners who go through those experiences. So when you tell them, take $4,000, but these pensioners still have their households to run, their lives to live, their medical needs to meet, they don't have insurance coverage from the government anymore, especially public sector workers, they don't have insurance coverage. How can that be something that your representative majority union would say, "Listen, we're going with that"? That can't be. That can't be right. It has to be that government policy, again, I stress that, must consider the worth of the people who have toiled for 30-something and 40-something years in the public sector, in the education sector, and say, "Listen, we have to do better by you."
We have heard clearly in the media space in terms of the concerns being raised by teachers far and wide. My question at this point, what has been the most recent response of the government on this issue? Because ultimately, you want to grasp the attention of the relevant authorities in terms of making things right as far as tutors' position is concerned and returning to the negotiation table and so on. What has been the response of the government in this?
Nothing. There's been no response. As I said, there's been no communication from the CPO, from the state. And when we consider the issues affecting us in the classrooms, the working conditions, the infrastructure issues, I know I heard the Secretary for Education recently speak about a continuous and comprehensive maintenance plan for schools. We've not heard the same by the Minister of Education in Trinidad and Tobago. As a matter of fact, I would want to signal that of the 630 schools in Trinidad, across Trinidad and Tobago, there are requests for some 350 repairs. It doesn't mean 350 schools, because some schools have multiple repairs, and principals and educators consistently ask what is happening. And the expectation is that schools would continue to operate in these unsafe and unhealthy conditions. Last week in a school in San Fernando, part of the ceiling fell down, could have damaged students, and it's cordoned off. And the expectation is that they will continue to deliver the curriculum with 300 plus students using one staircase up to go up and to come down, with the 2 stories, and that is fine. There's been no move to do the repairs, which by all indications could only take 2 or 3 days, need only take 2 or 3 days. So why must we wait for a crisis situation? We have our colleagues who go into Matlot Community College, Matlot Secondary School and Matlot Primary. The road there, because of the current weather situations, the road there has continued to crumble, notwithstanding efforts by the Ministry of Works to bolster and to... But Tuesday or Monday, going into the school, there was a landslide and the boulders fell on right in front of the car. And then the teachers are being told, well, you don't want to work. Bypass that and go to school. How can you bypass that when you're at the edge of the precipice to go into the sea? And the school itself has all of the termite-ridden areas. And you expect that we would come and we would sit and we would look at the children and say, let's all be comfortable and let's all function. There's been no significant response and discussion with the union or with stakeholders on how we can rectify these situations, right? You've not provided educators and classrooms with necessary resources. Good. And the teachers continue to dip into their pockets and buy material, buy books, buy resource and learning material for students, buy lunches for students who are not on that school feeding list because they don't meet the means test requirement, but the parents can't afford to provide the meals for them. And there's been no response by the state to how can we address these matters, even though TTUTA has continuously said, let us form that kind of working group so we can resolve some of these issues using the information and the expertise of the practitioners in the classroom.
I really want to thank you, Mr. Freitas, and I believe that this should be the responsibility of not only the tutor representative, but those who head the administration of the schools, the principals, vice principals. You need to seek the interest not only of the students, but teachers as well, or not only teachers, but students as well, because the combined team is what makes up the educational system, the combined team. And, you know, we can't just look at catering to the needs of the students. Yes, students need to be taught, but teachers also need a comfortable and safe environment within which to work.
But let me hasten to add, our administrators, very quickly, our administrators have been very supportive. They have tried their best in some instances, or many instances, with limited funding. But at times, their hands are tied as well because there's only so much they can do. So our administrators are supporting the union as well because they too are members of TTUTA. Okay. And we stand in solidarity with them.
As we look to wrap this morning's interview, in your final 30 seconds, tell us the way forward for TTUTA.
We will continue to represent the needs of our members, the interests of our members, as well as the provision call for the continued provision of education, quality education as a public good. That has to be our stance. Quality education for all is important.
All right, viewers, we've heard it there this morning from President De Freitas, President of TTUTA. giving us that perspective and an update on the situation. As she has advised, teachers will be resting and reflecting this morning on Thursday for the AM period, and then they return to school for the PM period, as the issue of negotiations continue to be a challenge for TTUTA. And in fact, several other unions at this point within Trinidad and Tobago. Isn't that an interesting kind of time to be in? To know that you are negotiating for the earlier years, but you are negotiating now from the perspective of the person to receive.
Yeah.
I want to receive based on the considerations of those earlier years when we were doing better. But from the perspective of the government and so, there is particular realities now after COVID in 2022. So it will be interesting to see where we eventually settle. But what is very clear is that we've got to get to a point to settle where it is the stakeholders involved do not feel affected. Because I am of the very strong belief, if we continue at this rate, the public service clamoring, TTUTA clamoring, and a number of others, we are going to see some very challenging times in terms of what may resemble shutdowns that have happened before, to send a clear message that these things have to be dealt with in some way, form, or fashion.
Yes, wish it could have been done in a more timely fashion, but I hate to say it, but it is what it is. But we definitely need to have some answers. All right, at this point, viewers, we just want to shout out very quickly on the live with us, June Abraham. We're seeing in the mix with us this morning, Onika Maz, Boris Russ Katz, Listra Belfon, Colin Perry joining us this morning on the live. We want to thank you so much for the love and support, folks. Right, and some information coming to hand at this point in time is that there has been another Tobago murder, and it's coming out of Belmont, that Mason Hall Link Road, Belmont Farm Road as we know it, Hope Connector. Investigations are continuing. But from what information we do have is that a man was found shot dead in his car, and this all happened along the Belmont Farm Road, the Hope Connector Road, and like I said, investigations are continuing. So as we get more information, we will be able to bring it to you, our viewers, right here on Tobago Updates.
All right, viewers, thank you so much for the continued love and support. This is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place,
Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes for breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
Live, the concert.
Says our destiny.
Friday, 23rd September.
The night before Republic Day. She says our destiny. She get next to me. At the concert capital, the Queen's Park Savannah.
Live, the concert. Mavado and his full band.
The Street 919 FM and the Tobago Updates presents the Tobago Updates Morning Show live simulcast on the Street 919 FM. Start your day with all the information you want and need with the simulcast of the Tobago Updates Morning Show live Mondays to Fridays from 7 a.m. on the Street 919 FM, the official station that defends the nation.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning again, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We switch gears. In fact, we continue probably along the same vein as we chat this morning with Mr. James Armstrong, who's the president of the Tobago Visual Arts Association. And this morning, he's going to share with us on the new board, a newly appointed board. But we want to get an idea this morning of what sort of components fall under visual arts. Good morning and welcome to you this morning, Mr. Armstrong.
Okay, the visual arts will include any two-dimensional representation in, whether in painting, drawing, and so on, of, a particular subject. And that would be the two-dimensional aspects of it, including photography and so on. And then you can also have the three-dimensional aspects, sculpture, whether it's in wood or in stone or some other synthetic material, so that it would generally include any creative endeavor that produces a work of art in different dimensions.
All right. And tell us about your background and how it relates to visual arts.
How much time do we have? Well, I started painting as a teenager, really, in Scarborough, underneath what is now the THA Assembly Hall. We had the art center there. Right. And I had an exhibition in 1965 and 45 pieces and sold only one. Wow. So I decided,
that must have been really big for you at that time.
It was, yeah, because I was just getting out of, teenage years and so on. Right. So it was quite, it was disappointing, but then I decided that although I wanted to be an artist, I decided that it was not the safe thing to do in terms of, income and so on. So I went away and I studied really design, industrial design, urban design, interior design, and then I switched eventually to urban and regional planning and did a master's degree in urban planning and a PhD in urban planning. But I never stopped painting. Right. I have always been an artist as far as I'm concerned. And even when I did, planning work, I did it with a certain amount of creativity, right, which I think is one of the important things about art, the creative aspects of it. So I have I used to have a day job that was, apart from from art, but I've never really stopped painting or doing art.
Someone said, once an artist, always an artist.
Always an artist, as far
right.
as I'm concerned, yeah.
What sort of space is there within, Tobago that allows for one to be an artist and earn an income or survive on? Can you be an artist and pay the bills?
I think that you can be now. It's very different from when I started. Mm-hmm. But I think now, if you are good at what you do and you have to be committed to it, it cannot be, well, I'll paint today and I'll do something else tomorrow and so on. You have to stick with it. You have to expose yourself as an artist. Go to galleries, exhibit in galleries, and so on. I think there's need for some assistance from the state in terms of providing a facility where young Tobagonians can really exhibit. There is a permanent collection at Shaw Park, but it's not really a facility that is suitable. It's not a dedicated facility for the visual arts. So that there is need really, and that's what we're trying to do now really, to revitalize the Tobago Visual Arts Association, to try to develop the skills of artists, to give greater exposure to artists from Tobago and art from Tobago and the creativity of Tobago, because Tobago is one of the most as far as I'm concerned, creative, niches or countries in the world, really. And we fail to realize that. And I think we're focusing a lot also on the performing arts.
Right.
But you don't hear anything about the visual arts. It's not included. It's sort of neglected. And I am not sure why, because all of these areas really are what would allow you to capture aspects of your culture and your heritage and so on. But I don't think that visual arts, that we have been giving sufficient attention to that. And that's what we're trying to do now, really.
I think we're too creative an island not to have a designated space.
A designated space.
To create and to expand.
Exactly. But we used to,
Right.
As I said, we had the whole of the lower level of what is now the assembly hall. And then there was another facility space up at the fort.
Okay.
And my dear friend Eddie Hernandez, who was at the museum,
yes,
I know he was instrumental also in encouraging that. And then it just sort of disappeared. I don't know what happened really.
Okay. All right. So there's now a revitalization of a board or a group, an entity. Tell us about this new board.
Okay. The Tobago Visual Arts Association was established in 2010.
Okay.
And we have done a number of things, but I think we need to revitalize it. We need to broaden the scope of it. We need to get more members on board. So
how many persons are involved at this time? And this is separate and apart from the board.
Well, it used to be, from what I understand, about 80. We're now down to about maybe 15 active members. So we recently had elections. We now have a new board in place. And we're hoping to attract some of the members that, would have fallen by the wayside over time. And to really get things going again. So that's basically what we're trying to do.
And who are some of those members, the new members of the board?
Well, I'm the president. You have Janina Crouch, who is an art teacher.
Right.
She's the secretary. We still have Mr. Tommy Roberts, used to be the president, and he's going to stay on as the immediate past president. We have Amber Shaw, who is also a teacher and an artist. We have Rodney, who is also an artist, and I believe he has done some teaching. We have Ascala, George, we have Avian Orr.
You're calling some big names there, some big names in Tobago.
Yeah. I mean, these are the people who really, stuck with it and are committed to it. Some people, and I think that starts from school, that art is, well, it's something that you do if you're not doing well at something else. It's a sort of a pastime. It's, but...
Well, he's not good at books, so, not good at academics.
So
but he's good with his hands, he can draw,
art sort of thing. And I always tell students and teachers, look, the business of art is not simply about looking at art as a product, like a painting or a sculpture. I think the important part of it really, one important aspect of it is the creative thinking, the creative conscious activity of the human being, really. So what happens in the mind that then allows you to demonstrate in an art form. And that could be applied to many other activities or careers and so on in that you might pursue. So it is. I think we need to stop thinking of art simply as producing objects of art. I think we need to recognize the creative process, and also, I mean, what art does to the soul, what it does to, the serenity of. I think that those are things that are important.
Let me share a little bit about what's happening on the live here with you this morning, Mr. Armstrong. One of our viewers on the live, William Willan Ivanus says, bring back art, historical art. And he asked the question, what about teaching art history? Barbara Manswell says, okay, look, my family, my grand need your help with my granddaughter. She likes drawing, wants to walk in your steps, right?
From Hope.
Willan Ivanus also said, there is great need to have art and craft back in Trinidad and Tobago. We can't afford to let this die. Willan also says, take art to another level by using technology.
Yes,
So that's another one.
yes.
Barbara Manswell said, want your contact, and this is Barbara Armstrong Manswell. The Armstrong name should be familiar to you here. And she sends a phone contact here.
Yes.
All right. So what about the idea here of teaching art or using technology in art? I mean, have we reached that level?
I think to some extent that is being done in the schools, yes, because now in a lot of the secondary schools you do have art teachers and art departments and so on. I mean, when I was going to school here in Tobago, I didn't study art. I mean, I did it, but on the side. I wasn't doing it in school.
In school.
Right. I did it on my own. I was doing it. But now you have teachers who are coming out of UE and so on that, are teaching art in the schools. And they're applying, different techniques and technology, computer applications and that sort of thing in art. So I think it's evolving, but the problem is that you might find that somebody does it in school, and then you say, well, where am I going with this? Why am I doing this? Where are the opportunities for this?
Where can I go? What's the next
Where
level?
can I go? What's the next move? And I think there are significant opportunities directly within art, as an artist, dedicated to where they want to do painting or sculpture or photography or whatever, as well as applying some of those skills in many other areas.
Most definitely. And I'm sensing from you, Mr. Armstrong, Bishop's, a past student of Bishop's High School.
No, I went to SD Hammond.
Wow. Very, very good. Interesting. I had you down somehow for a Bishop's boy, but
No.
but it's nice to know. Some of our guys here would be happy to know that that's your background. Okay. All right. Now, where is the new location, and how can young, maybe parents who have seen that inclination in their children, they see he's very gifted with his hands, she's very gifted, has a natural knack for, for color, for design, for that sort of thing. How can they contact you? Where do you now meet? Where is the association located?
Well, we were offered some space for a meeting down by Mr. Cohen down at the Shaw Park complex.
Right.
We really do not have a home. We do not have a space. And
this
is something
steady, stable.
Right. Where we can teach art, where we can do our art,
display,
have exhibitions
art,
and that sort of thing, where when people come to Tobago, they can say, okay, here's the art center. We do not have that spaces yet. And this is one of the things that we have as a priority on our work plan for the first year of this new board.
Right.
So we're going to be pursuing the whole business of a space. We want to look again at garden side, that art up on the wall at garden side. We want to look at that. We want to have about 3 major exhibitions a year. We want to do outreach training for students and so on. Go out to, as somebody said, talk about the history of art in Tobago. There's a lot of history of art in Tobago, starting back. People don't know that Basil Pitt, for instance, who was an old politician, and he told me once he looked at my art and he said, well, I used to do art, and but if I drew a house, I had to put house under it so people understood. So he was sort of joking, but then in doing my research, I realized that he and a number of other people, were really doing art a long time ago, and we just missed it. We didn't capture it.
We need to go back to those days.
Yep.
Certainly. But how can persons contact you this morning for more information?
Well, my personal number, sure. Which is 682-6464. But you can also go to the website of the Tobago Visual Arts Association and contact, we have a public relations officer and so on that would be charged with the responsibility really of, putting us on in the space so that we can expand.
All All right. Well, we want to thank you for being on the program with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure to chat with anyone as it pertains to, expanding and exposing Tobago. I think this is a good opportunity here for parents to jump in, get involved, get your children involved, keep them out of trouble, keep them off the streets. Certainly. All right. So thank you again for being with us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, viewers, lots more coming up on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. So share the live, share the live, share the live.
Their theme was You Just Can't Give Up Now. And the Chief Secretary, Honorable Fali Augustine, provided some inspiration to University of the Southern Caribbean Tobago Extension campus students through the scripture Exodus chapter 14. The Chief Secretary described the students' educational journey as essential.
Your theme this evening is You Just Can't Give Up Now. The first thing I want you to understand is on this journey you're on in school, it will never be easy. It will never be easy. University is usually a hassle to get in, a hassle to get assignments done, a hassle with the teachers, a hassle to get out, and a hassle to find a job. It's not going to get easier. But this journey is a necessary journey that you have to take.
I know where we're going. Don't fret. I've been before. Through these valleys, down these long and dangerous roads, dark as they seem, trust me.
If you want fulfillment in your life, you want to achieve those bright dreams you have in your head, this is a necessary journey that you have to take. The children of Israel had an ambition to get to Canaan. Canaan was promised to them since Abraham, their forefather. That was the destination for them. But you can't get to Canaan by staying in Egypt. And you can't get to Canaan by staying in the wilderness. And so you just can't give up now.
Honorable Augustine is encouraging the students to talk to God instead of complaining.
Why worry when you could pray? Find some time to pray it out. Find some time to sit down with somebody positive, somebody spiritually positive, and talk it out. Because you will get frustrated while you're here. You will be here and sometimes they don't know how we're finding the school fee. You're here and you don't know if you're getting to do the exam because you ain't pay the people the fees yet. You're here and you're every day looking online to see if gate give you clearance.
He advised the students to sit still and see the salvation of God, adding, and I quote, "He who brought you into the world is more than able to carry you through this world," end quote.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Now, good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. It's been a beautiful morning. Folks, we want to just remind you out there to be very careful on the roadways out there. We know it's raining, it's wet, we're under weather alert. So we just want to give you that quick reminder. Andrea, who do we have on the live with us this morning? I'm seeing Heather Cook in the mix this morning on the live, Brittany Duncan, Maxine Allen, Brian Thomas, yes, a wet day indeed. Willan Nurse, All right, and sending good morning from the University of the Southern Caribbean, Trinidad. We also see morning shout-outs from Beta Gaming, best at the arcade gaming. Morning to you. June Abraham, and the list goes on, Ria.
That's right, Marlene Hamilton, Julia Brown, always on the live with us. I saw Auntie Dora Lyons on the live this morning. Auntie Esther Holdip, good morning. Elton Richardson, Senior, my daddy, have a great day out there today. Hayden John says, have your head on. All right. Okay, so
and I'm seeing some commendations coming in there. Thank you so much, Ria. Oh, I won't go with the other surname here on air. Ria Oh, she says, love this shirt. Thank you so much, Ria Oh. Euphoric Designs by Darian Phillips. Thank you so much indeed to each and every one of you. We want to say we continue to appreciate your love and support here for the Tobago Updates morning show, and we thank you for continuing to choose us each and every day. Remember, later on this evening for the scheduled sitting that takes place at 1:30 and happening out of Shore Park, we will be carrying it live here on Tobago Updates.
All right, so Julian, this is a good place to leave it. We've got GMT coming up just after with Candace, and one of our guests on the program this morning would be Mr. Ainsley King of TTUTA, and I guess, you know, we're talking carnival here. I don't know if we're going to see Candace with her. You know, expect anything from Candace. I'm just going to leave it there. But viewers, I can tell you, certainly look forward to October, because you will see Candace and Julian out there. So I'm just putting it out there.
We outside, right? As Dee Vincent would say, we outside.
Certainly. All right, so we trust that you have a great day. Stay safe. And we usually still say here, wear your mask, still sanitize, and...
Yes, ensure you're socially distant. But remember now, by law, the mask is optional. But you make your decision. Consider your risk and ensure accordingly. Morning, Katie Robinson, Tintin Jack. Morning to all viewers and listeners. Bye-bye.
Harvesting at least 50,000 pounds of cassava at the end of a crop cycle is an achievable goal. That's the position held by the Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, TTUTA. So educating farmers about how they can get the highest yield out of their cassava production is one of the key messages explored during this 2-day cassava workshop at Shore Park Complex. The seminar is the second of its kind spearheaded by TTUTA. It's part of the company's capacity building initiatives for farmers who intend to partner with the company.
When you're talking about coming out to an acre of cassava, besides coming at 20,000 pounds per acre, we will want them to have about 50,000 pounds to 60,000 pounds per acre. And that's doable. So we want farmers to understand its profitability in the production system. Gone are the days when you feel like a partner tell you this and you tried. We want to tell them that it's a system, there's an approach, so that at the end of the day, what you get is what you put in. Great yield, fantastic end result from the efforts and the input that they would have put into production.
Farmers have also been made aware of the methods they are required to use to achieve quality produce for processing.
The workshop today is really to gear farmers towards understanding if you are supplying these entities through us, we want to ensure that the vagaries of not being uniform is taken out, and all our suppliers will be on the same page in terms of what we require for them to now supply us.
The workshop has been facilitated by Trinidad-based consultant Marcus Maiku. Participants learned about proper land preparation, varieties of cassava, selection of planting material, pest and disease management, the role of irrigation, and much more.
I think we're getting the support from TTUTA, the information, the training, the exposure. So it helps to really build the capacity of farmers in going forward.
I think it is a very good thing that the Tobago House of Assembly has embarked upon to ensure that we are fully equipped with the scientific nature of crops and things like that.
Coming out of this educational session, TTUTA expects that several farmers will sign contracts. Then they'll start supplying the company with the required amount of cassava needed for processing and consumption.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong.
Good morning, Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. There were only 6 reported incidents associated with the passage of a tropical disturbance yesterday. The Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Office issued an adverse weather warning yellow alert, which saw thunderstorms throughout the day and into the night. However, the Tobago Emergency Management Agency reported no major or serious incidents as a result of the heavy rainfall. Out of the 6 reported incidents, there were 2 cases of minor floods, 2 fallen trees, 1 minor landslide, and 1 power outage in the Mount St. George Study Park area. The yellow level continued during the day until a.m. Meanwhile, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine is expected to reveal the contents of an audit later today at the Assembly Legislature. Over the past few months, the financials of the Tobago House of Assembly was under investigation after Augustine discovered questionable dealings with contracts when he assumed office in December 2021. Among them were contracts associated with emergency road repair works and sanctioned by the previous PNM-led administration in the lead-up to elections. Augustine will reveal the audit findings in a statement that is expected to be comprehensive and will implicate several people and businesses. And nationally, the Minister of Health, Terence Dayal Singh, warned that the COVID-19 pandemic is not over. At a press conference yesterday, Dayal Singh responded to a question from the media regarding the state of the virus within society. Even though some countries have declared the pandemic over, he believes the virus is still prevalent in Trinidad and Tobago and remains a concern. Adding that the pandemic does not have an end date, Dayal Singh anticipates that the COVID-19 virus will become an endemic, just like the influenza virus. And that was the news in 90 seconds. And of course, in just a bit of a breaking news, we're receiving information that Tobago has recorded another murder, and that is along Belmont Farm Road. The reports are that a man was found shot dead in his vehicle. Of course, details are still coming in, and stay tuned to Tobago Updates, because we'll bring you the updates as the day goes on or in tomorrow's newscast. So, yes, so we are getting reports that there was a murder this morning, or at least a murder discovered this morning, a man shot in his vehicle. Now, moving on to our show this morning, now I am being joined on set by Mr. Ainsley King, who is the president of TTUTA. And a special good morning and welcome to you, sir. How are you doing?
I am great this morning. Very, very good.
All right. So we're starting where we're talking about Carnival, because I mean we're getting into what is it? 35 days before Carnival, people? To Tobago Carnival,
Tobago
35
Carnival.
days away.
Yes, yes.
And we're getting ready for, I guess, when Mr. King is preparing for the
Tobago line. The TTUTA Tobago's
the
line.
TTUTA Tobago line.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so viewers, for the viewers that don't know what the Tobago Tobago Lime is, what they haven't, for whatever reason, haven't checked the calendar events, what is it?
All right, well, as we get ready for the first Tobago Carnival, Tuco is excited to announce the first ever Tobago Tobago Lime, which is a lime that we intend to make a calendar event, as the carnival go on, as it continues now. Yeah, well, this is an event that is going to be staged by Tuco. It's an all-inclusive. This event will feature all aspects of a high-end all-inclusive with food stations, massive drinks, bars, and exclusive champagne bars, and lots of other exciting features, right? Tropicus is the venue that we are going to be staging this event. And Tropicus provides that perfect garden setting event, for an event, which is expected to become, as I said before, a signature event in the Tobago Carnival, right? Patrons will be treated with an evening of fun, relaxation, complete with the carnival vibes, The lighting, we have special lighting, special songs, a team decor, and this will be a premier all-inclusive event in Tobago as we go along. Well, on the entertainment lineup, we have Ravi B, Nisha B, and Karma. That's a band. We have College Boy Jesse and the All-Stars. We also have Farmer Nappy, Explainer, GI, Iowa George, Johnny King, Scrunter, and a few other surprises we have for the people. Surprise guests that will be coming through. Well, we also bring in the rhythm vibes into the place. The Siparia Engine Room rhythm band will be there. And we also have some Blue Devils coming in from, I'm forgetting the area in Trinidad there. But when I remember, I remember. But we have the Blue Devils. We're creating that carnival atmosphere, in this event.
And that's taking place on the Friday.
That is on the 29th, which is this Saturday.
No, the Saturday, sorry.
That is the Saturday, the 29th, which is this Saturday. All of this combined with some of Tobago's best food too, because we have crab and dumpling on the menu, we have bushmeat, we have Indian dishes, Creole dishes, Chinese dishes, and of course, the must-have bacon shark, corn soup, fish soup, and doubles also. Nice. Right? And early bird tickets, we have tickets on sale, now available on ticketgateway.com. Right? So you could go on ticketgateway.com and start purchasing your tickets. Tickets going at $750. I know that would have been the next question coming for the early birds. But as it builds up, it will go to 9, so people need to get their tickets as soon as possible.
Okay, so, and of course, this event is sort of to kind of bridge the gap because we're not having a competition, a Calypso Monarch.
Actually, there is a competition.
There is a competition.
There is a competition. The last time I was here, everybody who worked that program knew exactly what happened. But there will be a competition. The auditions is going to be on the 8th of October. And 12 contestants or 12 finalists will be selected to go to compete in the finals on the 23rd, which is the 23rd of October. It's a Sunday, right at the Shore Park Cultural Complex. And
how much is Tuco involved with this competition?
Tuco is running
You're running the competition.
We are running. Well, in collaboration, of course, I must say, with the Festivals Commission and the Division of Tourism. But we are the ones actually playing the major role.
Great. So what's the feeling now of the Calypsonians, especially in Tobago, now that we're getting geared up for a competition? Because, I mean, I know there was a little back and forth. And
people were uncertain, very uncertain. But they have decided to stage a competition, the Tobago Monarch, which will be an October calendar event from now on. Because, yes, we have the National Carnival, the Trinidad and Tobago Carnival, that is in February. But I think this space gives the Tobago Calypsonian and a space where recognition.
And they are on stage.
They will get recognition and they have their own space. It's not a space that, will put them in the dark while whatever happens in Trinidad is in the spotlight. So it's the only carnival, it's the only competition. So I think that this gives an opportunity for the artists in Tobago to finally be seen as far as possible across the world.
And are they happy with this decision?
Everybody is happy. Everybody is happy. And not just that. Remember, this had the competition being staged now is creating an opportunity for participation for more Tobagonians. And this was a major concern.
Yes.
Right?
Right. So we're going back onto the Tuco lime.
The Tuco lime, yeah. That lime, trust me, it's going to be something that people should be a part of. And if you check the lineup, it's more mature, a more mature thing. You know, I wouldn't say old people take, but big people take.
Because I mean, there's a concern because when you look at Saturday, Carnival Saturday,
yeah.
it's pretty jam-packed. I mean, you have Juve followed by Mud Mass, followed, and you're heading up to Rocks Row, and then you have the Tuco Lime.
Yeah, the Tuco Lime. Yeah, and then, but the thing is, though, I'm also hearing that their expectation of a big event in Roxborough. And I'm hoping that we could try to balance what we're doing, because it wouldn't make sense that you put forward a carnival and you expect to have turnouts, and then you go and put like a Marshall Montano in Roxborough for free. That is something that needs to be considered. You know, I'm hearing that through the grapevine, but I'm just saying this out loud. We need to think about what we're doing, because it doesn't make sense that we put things together and we bust we own events. Because if that does happen, you know, Marshall Montano for free, I think that is trouble.
So is it confirmed that Marshall is going to be here?
It has been whispered, but I'm hoping that some reconsideration could be given to it, because I mean it doesn't make any sense, because you have your own events, because you have other events that is being supported by the THA. But if you do something like that, trust me, I don't think that the impact will be one that will make too much.
And tell me, how are things going in terms of planning for the Tuco Lime event?
No, it's going very smoothly. It's going very smoothly, and people could look out for, as we say, you know, an ultra premium, you know, event here in Tobago, where all-inclusive is concerned. It's going to be an all-inclusive that, you know, is going to have the level of the, you know, of a high-end all-inclusive, one that you will see across the world, you know. So the standard is going to be very high.
And then what about getting people just into Tobago? Because I know that continues to be a concern, because there's so much interest.
All right, so
Carnival,
Southex is also a part of the coordinating and planning of the event. Southex have their following. All Stars also have a following, and Tuco have a following. So even though the Saturday is developing to be a Saturday with a lot of events, I think that this event it has a following, right? Because I'll tell you, even notice there's a mix with the East Indian, and also, you know, it's a total mix. The East Indian community through the band and so on, through Southex, and also Tuco, the Calypso community, and All Stars, you know, because I mean, you know, All Stars have a following. So I mean, we are in a cool position going forward.
All right, so I'll get in the wrap-up signal now, unfortunately. But I mean, I just want you to give the viewers just just some information about how to get in contact, how to get on board and get their tickets, because of course this is looking out to be one of those great events for Carnival this year.
It's going to be an event that people will enjoy, and one that people remember. You know, tickets are available on gateway.com. You could contact 789-3874 or 308-5602 for information, or any Tuco office.
Okay.
Right?
All right, so viewers, there you have it. I mean, Tuco Lime, it's happening. I mean, of course, we know on Carnival Saturday, it's going to be jam-packed.
It's going to be
jam-packed. But what's interesting about Carnival Saturday is that there is an event for everybody. So it depends on, you know, what favors you more, what do you like more, and you know, so
well, our lime is, as I said, is a more big people lime. It's a dress-up thing. Smell nice, look nice. You know, come and have a
nice garden soiree
classy,
kind of thing.
evening in the gardens at Tropicus.
Great. All right, viewers, so thank you so much, but don't go anywhere because we've got a lot more coming up for you after the break.
I come out to play. I come out to play. I come out to play.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Carnival. There is no denying Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning to
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. And of course, I mean, if you don't know, later on today we're going to be hearing from the House. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine is going to be making a statement and is going to be providing all the details from an audit into the financials of the Tobago House of Assembly. You know, over the past few months, we've been talking about those investigations that's been going on in the THA, and there's been a lot of questions. So people will be like, you know, how long is this investigation going to last? Are we going to find out anything about it? Is there going to be any action that will be taken? Well, we are going to find out about that audit. We're going to find out all the details today in the House, and the House sits at 1:30 p.m. So Mr. Augustine is basically going to be making a statement in the House, and from what my information, it's going to be a pretty long statement. It's going to be very detailed, very comprehensive. So perhaps a lot of the questions that are out there can be answered. But at the end of it, the question still remains, what action will be taken? But in the meantime, just to talk to and to give us a little bit of perspective on what's expected today is the former minority leader, Mr. Ashwood Jack. A special good morning and welcome to you, sir.
Hey, good morning, and thanks for having me.
All right, great.
Are you hearing me?
So we're going to be meeting in the House today. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine is going to be giving us that statement on the audit. What can we expect?
Candice, I'll let ambush more. This was not the agreed upon topic for interview, but so you're ambushing me. But like you, I think that Tobagonians have been. Let me back up a bit. Good morning to you, Candice. Good morning to everyone who is viewing on Tobago Update. I think that like everyone else, there's a lot of anticipation as to what would be said. I think the Chief Secretary had made it probably very, very clear from early that the findings of the audited report is going to be made public. And there was a lot of expectations. I think some people out of anxiety, some people out of maliciousness, some people because they just want to know what's happening and they care about what happened in the Tobago space. I think one way or the other, everyone will get their talking points sometime later today. It's a kind of new situation as far as Tobago is concerned, where the Chief Secretary of Tobago will have done have asked an in-depth audit to be done. And now that the audit is done, as in his capacity as Secretary for Finance, he will give Tobago the opportunity to hear. Of course, once that statement is made, it means that the content of the audit becomes a public document once it's laid in the House. And so people can dissect it, from people with the necessary expertise can dissect it and have a good idea. But I think it does something else. It says to this assembly and every future assembly that this could be done, and so behave yourself in terms of public funds. I think that is, for me, is the takeaway from this. That, of course, you know how things happen. Once they happen one time, everybody will be searching with a fine-tooth comb to see, okay, what could I do as I get back? And I think in a way that's not really bad, in that it kind of puts people on guard that if they abuse the public purse, they will be called out. From a Tobago point of view, the die is already cast. I hope that it's not as bad as people expect it to be, in terms of the number of persons that will probably have negative things said about them, companies and stuff like that. But that being done, I think the way forward is good behavior.
So we'll put it off, as you mentioned, the way forward. Now, last Monday we had the election of a new Deputy Chief Secretary in the form of Dr. Faith B. Israel, and we're seeing that Assemblyman Watson Duke is now going to be declaring war on the Executive Council. It's an unfortunate situation, and it's looking a little bit shaky for the way forward. Now, based on all those things that have been happening, just the rift between Mr. Duke and Mr. Augustine, and all of that, what is the way forward? How are things looking?
I think that sometimes we assume things, and you just made an assumption about how shaky things look or not look. That's an assumption, because between Monday and now, the earth have not shaken. Yeah, we had some rain, but the earth really have not shaken. I must say my personal position on this is that I am saddened that it came to this. I am saddened that it came to this. But what do? You cannot change the past. The past is the past. And I like the question, the way forward. I would like to think that based on what have transpired, that one of the things that will need to be looked at by the present administration, present Executive Council, is the quality of delivery and the openness of the administration to scrutiny. And once you have a situation where, even from within your ranks, there's a fallout, it puts you under and some additional pressure to deliver, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Because one of the things that have been complained about for more than 20 years in Tobago is the lack of delivery and the lack of transparency. So I think this puts the executive in a place that they have to do both. They have to be transparent and they have to deliver, because people will not settle for what they have settled for in the past. And I think that's the essence of...
Mr. Jack, this situation has sort of brought about that notion, or that idea within the space that perhaps the current, over the past 9 months, the Fally-led administration has not really been delivering in the way that people expected them to deliver. And, I just want to get your take on that.
Based on what? Because based on what? Finances available,
and deliverables,
what is the
changes that they
based
promised?
On? Yeah. Okay, I don't want to speculate. Could give me an example or two so I could be able to expound on them.
Well, in terms of, in employment opportunities, I was just one of the concerns that was also made by Mr. Duke in terms of, making sure that the contracts and so on are given out to more Tobagonian businessmen, just things like that.
Okay. I've heard that, and I want to start with employment opportunity. I think anytime an administration changes, there's an expectation that there will be some terms of employment pattern. But is it that everyone who is not of your political ilk is just going to be sent home in order to make room? Or is it that new opportunities have arisen that will create more employment? That people need to be very careful with, because it means that when the next administration comes, the same thing is going to happen. There's going to be a certain level of instability. In terms of creating new opportunities, the question is, do you have the necessary finances to create new opportunities within the 9-month period? The first budget period is about to come upon us, and then one would expect there to be a change of priority and more priority being given to employment, and not only employment but productivity, because employment has to go with productivity. So I think those things have to be looked at, because I'm hearing people saying, well, and I think that, sometimes you're shy to say, and so I don't have anything to lose, I'll say it. People are saying that you should send them home. You have too much of this here, you have too much of that there. And when that happens, the same people are going to turn around and say you're discriminating, you send home people to make room for other people. And so the expectation must be tempered with resources. And I think that is one of the things that have to be reviewed, in terms of not only getting more resources, but in terms of how the resources are properly managed. Because I am one of the people who believe Trinidad and Tobago problem is not necessarily a lack of resources, it's a paucity in management.
And has this current THA been effectively managing or sustainably managing our resources so far for the past 9 months?
There's room for improvement, but comparatively, it's a lot better than we had before. And let me just give you a couple of examples. The amount of money this present THA would have been able to save through even the use of Shore Park Cultural Complex, I think that in the 9 months Shore Park Cultural Complex probably have been used more than in the 19 or so years before. It means that is money that you can use to do other things in terms of development. When you see the number of things like the food hub that has been constructed, where the temporary market was, and what is I've been looking at what is the desire for it. When we look at the Lower Estate and what has been done there in terms of the cocoa production and use it as a tourism attraction, there are a number of things that have been done differently. But remember, it's 9 months. And so some of these things have not yet been able to bloom into fullness, because you will just see a galvanized coming on, a nail being pounded, that kind of stuff. So I would like to think that when those things are done, there's a lot more. I know that there's been some look at how we attract events in terms of attract new tourists. Look at how money has been spent, and I have heard the Chief Secretary expound on a number of occasions that Virgin was really a drain, and that Virgin will bring in 12 and 14 people, and Virgin is paid like $20-something million a year. And so things like those will take some time to bear fruit. But that is what we're hoping. It doesn't take too long, is that the fruit is born within the first year to 18 months, and people can see the changes, it can create more employment, and then we can move on.
With the national budget getting ready to be read on Monday, do you have what are your expectations as it relates to Tobago, and what can be given to Tobago for the THA to do what they said that they would do?
I know what I pray for, but I don't know how well my prayers will be answered. Tobago have been left behind a while in terms of location. I know that people, in 2000, there was the port that 4.03 to 6.9% of the national budget. And I think some administration, some central government needs to understand that it's not just about what's happening today. It's about, and already we're talking about reparation, it's about making up for what have not been done. And I would love to see Tobago get a 6.9% of the budget. But I would also like to see that 6.9% of the budget being spent with prudence, and that Tobago takes the opportunity for either one or two 6.9% of the budget to create a revenue stream that allows Tobago to, one, be able to generate revenue, two, be able to have that revenue retained in Tobago as is enunciated in the Tobago House of Assembly Fund, and that will and that will call for a couple of changes in not the act but in administration in Trinidad in terms of how allowing Tobago to keep all the money that it generates from taxes, because that is what the law says. And you are given the impression, and let me tell you how bad that is. Every car that is bought in Trinidad for Tobago, that is tax that Tobago loses. And there's a simple way to do that. If you just, they will tell you and that kind of stuff. And that should be able to be credited to Tobago. And all the banks, the TSTT, everybody, all their VAT, everything is collected in Tobago, put in a bag, and sent to Trinidad. There is no crediting of that to the Tobago economy. And so when people talk about what Tobago brings, it is not even a quarter reflection, not even a one-tenth reflection of Tobago's real contribution to the national economy. Right? So things like those, they must not only be done, but they must seem to be done. You must be able to see it. You must be able to put your hand on it and say, this is what Tobago is bringing as a result of these things. That being said, there are also other things that Tobago will need to do in order to generate more revenue. And I'm convinced. I know I have traveled pretty widely. I have seen smaller spaces than Tobago. I've seen spaces with less resources, less opportunity for income generation, and yet they have been doing a lot better. So I'm hoping that is one of the focus that this administration will pay attention to.
Well, I know you're hoping for that 6.9%, but realistically, based on what has been given, it may not be more than the minimum.
Pray for 6.9, right? I pray for 6.9, but I'm realistic.
But do you think that with that realistic figure, the more realistic figure, the current administration would be given sufficient enough funds to, at least get a majority of what they want here in Tobago, what they want, what they promised?
Funds are sufficient regardless of how you do, but how you manage those funds, how you manage your human resource and your financial resource, and bring them together, right? In terms of work habits, in terms of overrun. Every project have an overrun and overcost. In terms of dishonesty, where people pad the cost of construction in order to siphon money. Those things have to be looked at very carefully. And once those things are managed, you find yourself in a situation where you are able to have more disposable income to do more of your developments and stuff. Because most of our stuff, development of Tobago's development will come from development fund, not recurrent, because recurrent is just to pay salaries and wages and stuff like that. But when you have new development taking place, which means you bring on new people, new money is being spent, and if the money is managed properly. Also, I don't know if it's happening, but I have seen it happen for eons. The relationship between the executive public service is going to be very important in terms of people being paid on time, in terms of contractors and stuff being paid on time. And that, again, will have a lot to do with the the way contracts are sent out, so they're not a set of questions. And so if that happens, then you find the spin-off is there. And so more people is wrapped in the economic development. There are going to be people, international and local investors, who will come with their own money. The lockjam on that must be very, very short. Once the project is feasible, once it benefits Tobago. If you have probably set up a team that looks at that and do the approval, send the approval to the executive council very quickly, then you'll be able to have additional funding that does not come from the budget, but is able to aid in the development of the island.
Well, Mr. Jack, I just want to thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. It was a pleasure hearing your perspective, and I guess we will have a lot more to talk about as the days and weeks roll ahead, especially after today's sitting and especially after the national budget on Monday.
Thanks for having me next time. Tell me exactly what you want to talk about. Don't ambush me.
Okay, Mr. Jack. All right. Well, viewers, we're moving on to our next interview. And joining me on set is none other than Mr. Reginald Vidal. And if you don't know, he is the chairman of the Dr. Eric Williams Memorial Committee. A special good morning and welcome to you, sir. How are you doing?
Special good morning to you, and thanks for having me in your very aesthetically pleasant environment. It is a pleasure being here, really it is.
Okay, great. So we're getting ready for Republic Day celebrations on Saturday. On Saturday, 24th, we are going to be celebrating, of course, us just being a republic, being our own. We just had earlier this week, the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, the head of the British monarchy. And, it's been, several years, 30-something years since we could say that she is no longer our head and we have our own head and we could forge a way as our own country.
Well, certainly. I suppose, as you mentioned, the monarchy and the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, I suppose as a nation which is still part of the Commonwealth, but no longer part of the colonial system, as it were, that we should extend to the peoples of Britain and the Commonwealth our condolences on her passing. Well, yes, 46 years we are a republic, coming from independence to be a republic. There are so many things that we have to be grateful for that we have achieved. Over the 46 years it's been a republic, and of course 60 years being an independent nation. When we became a republic, we saw that we were in a position that we could have taken on the mantle of total governance and leadership and forge a new destiny for our nation, which we did. And we have done it so far quite successfully going forward, be it, as they keep saying, a young nation, but 46 years you start gaining some measure of maturity. And we have done well. There's a lot more to do. In many instances, I think that our strides are a little more than we could manage. In other words, while we crept and we started to walk, we got to walk properly before we start to run. Sometimes I think some of the steps we are taking are a little too long in terms of our capacity to do and achieve the things that we want, which by and large could be responsible in many ways to the state of our country today, which is of major concern, I think, to all.
What are some of those steps that you think that are perhaps a little bit too long?
I think that the advancement of our development is perhaps a little too rapid. Not that we should not keep in line with the development of the third world and our international competitors, but I think that what we need to do as we make our steps forward, we should ensure that we would have covered the areas, both social, economic, and otherwise, that we are comfortable going forward. instead of leaving gaps which are creating the kind of confrontation, as it were, given the trade unions, for instance, given labor, given what is happening in terms of our social side of it, where people are losing jobs. And in other words, we need to look at the stability of our nation as we go forward without leaving gaps which would cause the kind of situations which are not auguring well. I mean, when you look at the murder rate and you ask yourself, well, what is causing that dramatic and astronomical increase in the murder rate? I mean,
I guess the heinousness of the crimes.
That too. What is causing that? I mean, it's something that we have never known. It is something which we have never grown accustomed to. And I think what is happening is leaving a lot of the citizenry in some measure of fear as to, well, is it going to come home to us? Is it going to come home to our family? Or is it going to come home to our friends? You don't know who is next. And that is where we have to deal with it as we go forward on this, the 46th anniversary of being a republic.
How do we pull it back? And, you know, as we're celebrating 46 years, how do we pull it back and then reevaluate those steps that we have taken and then make sure that, you know, let's get some things right here in the country before we take more steps?
Well, yes, this is what I think we need to do. This is what I talk about when I refer to the gaps, that, you know, we are going so fast that we are forgetting a number of things, that we need to go back and fill those gaps and see where the problems are in order that we can correct them and correct the ills in our society and in our country. We got to look at what are the causal links insofar as the crime in this country. What is creating it? We are seeing where the center of it all is around the youth, the young people. What can we do to encourage the young people away from crime and the guns? What can we do? Can we do something that would generate interest in their community that they can be involved with? I mean, one of the things I heard a few days ago with the housing development, where they are instituting a new home development environment in Beetham Estate, where they're going to be constructing dwelling homes there for the people of Beetham to aesthetically make Beetham a more pleasant environment for the people, a more socially acceptable environment for the people and the country. These are the things, because what they are planning to do, from what I heard, is that the employment in terms of the construction is going to come from within the area. So it means employment. It's empowering the young people. And this is what needs to be done in other communities. Let the development of those communities engender a support base of the young people so there can be some hope.
Now, what you're also speaking to is perhaps one of those things that our country was birthed on. You know, because, and then when you look back at some of those people, like when you look back at the people like Mr. Dr. Eric Williams and Mr. Robinson, and all these people that led our country down this path of not just being an independent nation and a republic, what we see is that, you know, there was that dedication to the country itself, and there was that spirit of wanting to establish our own society that the future generations could love and be proud of.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. And I would always say, and not that I want to project Dr. Williams beyond all the others who have led this country. They have all made their contributions in one way or another. But I think that when Dr. Williams departed on the 29th of March, 1981, he left a country which was developing towards the kind of status which we would not see what is happening today. And likewise, Mr. Robinson. Mr. Robinson's contribution to Tobago was one where, I mean, and not only to Tobago, but to Trinidad and Tobago as former Prime Minister, as a
former president of the republic. These men made the kind of contribution to the development of this country that today we should not see what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago.
And how do we get back to that?
How do we get back to that? You know, as they always say, you know, when the horse is bolted from the stable, it's kind of hard to get it back in. I mean, you have so much to do to get it back in that stable. We need to stop. The country needs to come to a stop and review all the areas of concern and see where the problem lies and try and correct it.
Mm-hmm. And would you say that it's an all society problem or just one or two sections of society?
It's a societal problem. It's general. It's not in any one particular area. One of the areas I would like to see is the churches play a more definite role in the development and as to what is taking place now. I am not hearing the churches as I would like to hear them. I'm not seeing their participation in the areas of concern which could try and mitigate a lot that is happening. I think if we hear the voices a little more, along with other voices, I think it can suppress to a very large extent what is happening in our nation today on this, the 46th anniversary of being a republic.
Now, even though that there are so many problems that we need to treat within our country, you also mentioned that there were some good steps, some good strides that we have made. And what are some of those steps? And what are some of those things that we can be proud of at 46 years as a republic?
Well, what we can always continue to be proud of are the words, our nation's watchwords: discipline, production, and tolerance. That would take us into every sphere and every vista of our development. Together we aspire, together we achieve. We must continue as a nation to aspire to get rid of the crime so that we can achieve a result. We must aspire in terms of unity of purpose as a nation to achieve what we want. We can no longer just be individualistic and be concerned about our own individual development and forget country. Country has to come first. And until we see that, then our country is going to continue to slide as it is sliding. So we need to do something to stop the slide.
Are we better off as a republic, or should we have, stayed as it was before?
I don't think so. I mean, we had to show some measure of progress because it was 14 years after we got independence that we became a republic. And that allowed us sufficient time to decide exactly how we wanted to go and where we wanted to go. So those were good barometers as to where we are today and how we were able to get here. I don't have issue with that. I have issue with the unity of purpose of the people of our Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. We must collectively all come together in the interest of our nation. We are too, how should I put it, fragmented. Too fragmented. And if we don't remove that, I'm not too sure that we are going to get the results that we are expecting and looking forward to. We need to be united. We need to see our country first, Trinidad and Tobago. We got to see that first. If we don't see that first, then we are going nowhere. We must see that. There's too much, as far as I'm concerned. We are not allowing the nation to breathe. We are not allowing the nation to exhale. There are too many conflicts which are on our nation, our leaders, our communities, that we are not able to adjust to them. There are so many insurmountable that we just can't get over the hurdles that are present in front of us. And we have to
if we have to eradicate those areas that are of major concern, then I say to the country, if we are not prepared to unite, don't be prepared to see the changes that we want. They are going to get worse.
And, you know, as we're getting ready to wrap up, we know we have such a potential as a nation, especially as a republic nation. And I just want you to speak to a little bit about that potential and what we can really be, and what does being a republic state mean for our people.
Together we aspire, together we achieve. We have to look at our country in terms of its development going forward. In order to achieve all the goals and expectations of this nation, which would allow for the citizens to enjoy and improve life and living standard, then we must all have one common goal in mind and what we need to achieve. And it is for that reason, on Saturday, Republic Afternoon, we are having a church service to commemorate the 46th anniversary of being a republic at the Canaan Seventh-day Adventist Church, where we would be thanking God for bringing us to where we are, even though I don't see much of it, and I did not see much of it for independence, where anyone thanked God for bringing us to 60 years. There was a lot of fete and revelry and pomp and all of that. So we are having this commemorative Thanksgiving service at the Canaan Seventh-day Adventist Church at 4:30, and I would love to invite as many who would like to attend. Awards are going to be given to deserving members of our community in Tobago who have made the sort of contribution to the development of Tobago in several spheres of endeavor. So that takes place Republic Afternoon, and perhaps I would take this opportunity to invite you to it.
Great, no problem. The Dr. Eric Williams Memorial Committee, you guys have always been doing something on Republic Day to keep our nation at heart, and just to sort of celebrate us and appreciate us. So thank you for the work that you've been doing.
Thank you so much.
We're certainly looking forward to seeing that service on Saturday.
Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure being here. It's a pleasure being in your company. And as I started by saying, it's a pleasure being in this aesthetically pleasant office. I understand it's a new station, and I certainly want to wish it all the best going forward. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Vidal. And viewers, well, with that, we come to the end of our program. And, it's not done for the day, because later on this afternoon, we'll be bringing to you live the plenary sitting that's happening in the Assembly Legislature, where, of course, the Chief Secretary, Falia Augustine, will be bringing to us a statement on the audit reports within the financials of the THA. So you don't want to miss that, and that's at 1:30 this afternoon. All right, viewers, it's a rainy day outside. We're still under that weather alert warning. So just be safe out there on the roads and try your best to keep dry. And perhaps it's a good time to cozy up with a book, read a little bit about our history, get acquainted. We are celebrating Republic Day on Saturday. So it's a good time to, just appreciate who we are, remember who we are, remember the principles upon which we were born as a nation. All right, viewers, have a safe, wonderful day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Tobago Update.